Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast, bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Before I get into the stories for today, I wanted to give you guys a little update on our holiday break. So I did cover this in Friday's deep dive coming up, so you might hear this twice. But the last episode of this season will be December 20th. So last mini will be on the 19th, and then December 20th will be the last deep dive, so next Friday. And then I'm going to be taking a 3-week break. So I won't be back until January 13th. I know it's a long time, especially for a daily podcast, to be offline, and I'm so sorry. I think I'm going to miss you guys so much. And honestly, the girls here keep saying that they're not convinced I'm going to go the full 3 weeks without coming in to record, but we will see. For now, that is the plan. I just really need a proper break. This has been my first year running the business by myself. It's been my first year doing a daily podcast. It's been my first year running a business that is scaled and a little bit more sophisticated than we've ever been. And it's just a lot. And I haven't had any time to really properly, I think, process it, decompress, and rest, right? I went away in the middle of the year for my friend's wedding to Europe, but that was not a restful trip, let me tell you. That was a trip for a wedding with all of my friends, and it was so much fun. It was definitely what I needed to get me through the end of the year. But now I just need to rest. So we're going to go to Sean's family's house in the country over Christmas time. I'm just going to unplug and hopefully be as offline as possible and just in the country in Australia resting. That is just what I need. I'm sorry, I know it is a long time, but I will miss you guys, and I'm so excited to be back on the mic in 2025 for you guys. And I've learned a lot this year, so I think it should be good. Okay, let's get into the stories for today. So the first story that I have for you guys, of course, is that Taylor Swift has performed the final show of her Eras Tour last night. So I know that this says December 10th, and I know her show is technically on December 8th, but I live in Australia, for anyone that does not know. So for us, her final show was on December 9th, because we are a day ahead. So Taylor Swift said goodbye to the Eras Tour last night on her final show in Vancouver, BC. Taylor performed the Eras Tour at 149 shows. That would actually kind of kill me that it's not around 150 across 21 countries and 5 continents. Quote, "We have toured the entire world with this tour," Taylor told the crowd on her final show. "We have had so many adventures. It has been the most exciting, powerful, electrifying, intense, most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. We've gotten to perform for over 10 million people on this tour, and tonight we get to play one last show for you here tonight in beautiful Vancouver, and we're going to make it count." It was revealed on Monday that the tour raked in a record-breaking $2 billion, which is, of course, a history-making mark. And interestingly enough, there were also hundreds of thousands of people watching from home via live stream on TikTok. And I wanted to read a Blue Sky thread from my friend Crystal. She's a media girly here in Australia. I talk about her all the time, but she's the founder of ZFeed, and she's also the reader's editor at Crikey. And she was watching it and she was posting about this. So she said, "There are 240,000 people watching an unauthorized, unofficial live stream of the final Eras Tour show on TikTok, and the technical capabilities of whoever is running this stream is something else. I am not a tech person, so we'll butcher the description, but the user running the stream from their home somewhere is connecting to different users at the concert who have opted into providing a stream from their phones. They're taking turns doing it in chunks, but all streamed from one main account. There is a ticker running across the screen updating live with the things Taylor has included in the piano mashup. This is all happening live in the moment. A whole broadcast produced by fans, free for other fans. Each new user providing vision for the stream gets their username put on screen, an incentive for participating in the hopes of getting more followers, especially among Swifties who fiercely, cultishly support their own." And then someone responded to her saying, "Nothing will beat the combined power of the Swifties." Now, I know a lot of people are disappointed that she didn't do anything, quote unquote, like special at her final show. She didn't announce Reputation. She didn't, I don't know, bring anybody out as a special guest. It was basically just a very like standard Eras Tour show. I'm not really that surprised, and I actually think that's completely fine. I think keeping it relatively the same honors the tour. And it also means that she doesn't have any expectations now that she has to live up to. Like, I think she really needs a break. Girl, she needs a rest. And I think kind of simply ending the tour with like a quote unquote like regular show closes this chapter without opening anything new, so she can like genuinely take some time off. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys is that sadly, someone else who is going away from the zeitgeist for a little bit, Drew Afualo, has announced that she is taking a break from TikTok following a tumultuous month online. So TikTok star Drew Afualo announced today in a tearful video that she will be taking an indefinite break from TikTok and only posting sponsored content to oblige by, contractual obligations. In the video, Drew said she's been considering this break for a long time, but the events of this past month have solidified her need for the break. Okay, so I didn't cover this on Mini. I felt it was a bit, I guess, kind of inappropriate coming from me, given I don't belong to these groups. But last month, there was a group of white lesbian creators on TikTok who kind of started like going after Drew. I know that was not the intention, and that's probably not the right wording, but that's what it felt like it turned into. Basically, there was this one creator who said there will never be a lesbian version of Drew, and that Drew has been able to amass such a huge platform because straight women look up to her as someone who has been able to kind of fight against the patriarchy, like fight against the weight of men in society while also securing a man as a partner herself. This take obviously lacked serious intersectionality, and thousands of people went to bat for Drew, noting that just because she's straight doesn't mean that she doesn't have other barriers to building her platform. There are just so many missing pieces to that argument. It's pretty wild. So Drew barely addressed this. There were so many really big creators speaking out about this, trying to, I guess, educate these women on why that take was so off base. But I'm going to assume that based on what she's saying in her new video about taking a break, that this discourse really did impact her.
My build on TikTok has been very difficult and at times very violent for my very particular niche, and we all know that, right? And I have been weathering that storm for 3+ years, but this break that I'm taking right now is not because of vitriol, and I want to make that very clear. This isn't because of hate I receive from bigots or misogynists or the many people that don't like me on the app because of what it is I do, which is obviously trying to fight for other marginalized groups and all of that. I need this break because, just for a little context and background on me, I've said this publicly before too, that my validation does not come from men. It honestly never has. My validation has always come from my external accomplishment. And in getting older and going to therapy after getting fired, I realized that that is a very unhealthy and unsustainable place to draw validation from. The reason why I pursue validation through external accomplishments is my incessant need to feel like enough. Now I feel as if I am constantly trying to fit into everybody's idea of perfection. So the perfect content creator, the perfect influencer, the perfect ally, the perfect activist, the perfect feminist, the list goes on. And that feeling is suffocating.
It was a very hard video to watch because she was so emotional. I just love Drew. Okay, the last story that I have for you guys is that Patrick Ta has apologized to an influencer who claimed she wasn't paid for work on his beauty brand. Over the last 3 days, beauty creators on TikTok have been boycotting Patrick Ta's makeup brand and even going so far as to destroy their Patrick Ta makeup products on camera. This was to stand in solidarity with influencer Avonna Sunshine, who claimed she didn't receive payment when she partnered with Patrick Ta Beauty.
I'm sick of seeing companies profit off of the Black dollar, and they're not paying Black creators. I went the nice way. I wasn't the mad Black woman when I emailed or when I DM'd you. So what do you suppose I do? I have a question for brands. How would you feel if someone stole from you? If someone took your hard-earned time, and work, blood, sweat, and tears, and they stole from you.
It is unclear what particular partnership she was talking about, but there is a video from March where it's like tagged as a paid partnership and she's reviewing products. In a statement to People magazine, Avonna said, "While the situation with Patrick Ta Beauty has drawn an overwhelming amount of attention, I believe it's important that we focus on the larger issue, the systemic undervaluing of creators, especially Black creators. My hope is that this situation highlights how creators of color are often overlooked, underpaid, and dismissed, despite the value and impact we bring to the table. This isn't just about one brand, it's about the need for fairness, accountability, and equity across the industry. I hope this conversation encourages more brands to reflect on their practices and commit to valuing all creators equally." So Patrick Ta himself has now responded in a TikTok video.
I immediately reached out to Avonna after seeing that video, and I don't expect a response from Avonna. She doesn't owe me a conversation. She is probably mad at this whole entire situation, and that is completely understandable. Avonna, I am truly so sorry that this has even escalated to this point, and I am so sorry that I didn't see your message a month ago, and I want to get you compensated as soon as possible today if you are willing to answer me. If I had known this, I would have never let this happen. This was my finance team that made this mistake. My face is the one that you guys see, and I need to take accountability for this. This will never happen again.
Okay, so as someone who runs a business that is very adjacent to influencers and how we make money, like advertising and promotions and sponsorships, I'm gonna give Patrick Ta himself the benefit of the doubt here. I'm gonna assume that the influencer relations, the partnerships, and the logistics that go with that for his brand are probably handled by an agency. And this is a consistent problem with agencies. And I am sure that Avonna, being a Black woman, being a Black creator, she is treated much worse in this situation. This is a consistent problem with agencies. Getting paid on time, even for us as, a company, is so difficult when you're working with agencies. I can only imagine that as like a single creator. I'm not sure if she has a manager, but as like a single creator, a single Black creator trying to get your payment. If that is the video that she's referring to, the one that I found, it was posted in March. We are now in December. She probably felt like at her wit's end, like she had no other options but to bring this to TikTok. I'm glad she did because it's gonna get her paid. And I actually do hope that this will be a bit of a wake-up call for the industry, working with all creators, all independent, media companies, whatever it is. The way that payment works in this industry, at least here in Australia, and it sounds like could be similar in the US, is so incredibly frustrating. And I can't even imagine how much more frustrating it would be to be like a solo creator, a creator of color, just like trying to break through and to get someone to listen to you and take you seriously and pay your fucking invoice. I literally can't even imagine. One little tip that we have implemented, not that I think Avonna is listening to this podcast, but one thing that we have done to ensure payment, it's still a struggle. Like, we are still chasing invoices that were due months and months and months ago. It is just kind of the nature of the business, unfortunately. But one little thing that we've done is we ask for a deposit up front. If a brand won't do that, then we will implement something in our contracts that put in like charging interest if they don't pay on time. But yes, so that is me giving Patrick Ta himself the benefit of the doubt. I do think this was all handled separately to like him as the figurehead of the brand. But at the end of the day, his name and his face are on the brand. And, I think it was important that he personally address this. All right, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Please rate us on Spotify. We're trying to get to 500 by the end of the year. I love you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.